We are like normal people NTs out there but wired differently. No. We aren't the same, as people with AS will work differently regardless of their age or stage of their condition. I just believe that we all need to remove some of this stereotyped thinking and behaviors, and at least be more understanding, knowledgeable and empathetic to others. Sometimes, we may act differently, speak differently, or think differently as this is based on our level of understanding which is higher than the normal NTS. Sometimes when NTS socialize with us, they tend to misunderstand us, misread us, or miscommunicate with us. Due to this lack of knowledge and awareness, that need to be addressed, they think that they know better than us. I shall say this as nicely as I can. Some NTS really need to buck up their ideas about us and actually stop judging or assuming that they are the only one that can do the everyday tasks that you all take for granted, or, just to the point where you think that no matter what, they'll outperform us. I know that despite that, we're different people that fear this and feel insecure and more about it all. Yet, it is okay to feel that way. I know it is okay to feel awkward at times, but I feel it in my heart that no matter what, sometimes people need to acknowledge their faults and accept us for being different, as sometimes people with AS can't change everything about them. We are all growing up, and maturing and changing in our outlook and character, yet some changes that are being made will take time for some of us to adjust. I shall say this, sometimes I don't like change, but I have come to a point in my life, to accept any change or challenges that I face, no matter the circumstances, and it will only make me stronger on the long run. AS doesn't work the way you may be thinking or saying to yourself. However, both sexes as have got chromosomes from the DNA made or intertwined in us to make us how we look, talk, speak and more. I would like to conclude and say again that many females with this condition will be diagnosed later than males and will have other pre-diagnosing conditions that runs with AS. Many females are likely to be misdiagnosed. I am one of many females that have experienced this. I have also been trying to do clinically self-diagnosis on myself due to the lack of funds. Many of the diagnoses are or can be hidden, or as I call it, masked with the other conditions that I've got, but after all I'm still here anyway. Sometimes, with AS and other conditions that runs with it which tend to show up at a later date. For example, if you had something wrong with you like appendicitis, that's when it does tend to get a bit trickier to know what the problem is, the causes or triggers for it. Sometimes, when it does show up much later, there's a dire need for more testing and research about how to address this issue. As I have mentioned, AS has no cure. It is not a disease. It's a part of us. It will remain with us for the rest of our lives. It's almost like part of a DNA footprint that leaves a mark behind. Some people that I've been getting to know in person on YouTube after watching some of their videos said that they've not let it get to them. They mentioned that AS isn't always in the way of our everyday life of how we perform and more. AS is on the autism spectrum disorder, but how we go about our lives is that we can communicate and socialize better than some others with other forms of autism, due to what we've learned and was taught. I'm not trying to be smart, cocky, or rude, I'm just sharing with you what I've seen in the past up till this day. Despite the other conditions that's being masked, however, many of us females tend to hide it away and focus on what needs to be dealt with, and that we tend to try and be someone that we're not, due to high demands of people, as sometimes, despite how we may feel, we will likely to put on a fake smile or brave face on. Sometimes well as the society on how they want us to be. At this point many people will then point their fingers and may just laugh at us or stare at us thinking, what are they doing, coupled with many other questions and thoughts from others around them. I believe no matter what we say, even if it comes out wrong, that surely there'll be people out there who will be there for us just as we will do the same for them. I'm however grateful now that there's starting to be more research, findings, and more for us females that have this condition, although there's still a long way to go. I believe that, no matter what, females are more dedicated, passionate, motivated to what we can accomplish of the tasks that's given to us at any time. Yes, it may be a slower process for us to complete the tasks, yet we're likely to get the job done efficiently and professionally. Everyone's got a different personality or characteristics in their traits. Yet, some of the behavioral traits that we have, will show of how we may have grown up, what we see and dictate how we act, think, or what we say towards others. This will go from our personal views and opinions, as well to what is it that we believe as the right thing, however gets in the way of everyone and that sometimes, can cloud our perceptions, views, and more. Sometimes, I feel with people that have high personal views and opinions, tend to lose themselves in the moment. People with autism and many other conditions can relate with others about how they feel etc. and that, many may have their struggles based on socializing, showing emotions etc. but, that doesn't slow us down. I believe that we are the kind of people that are forward thinkers, motivators, open-minded people that will be open to new opportunities and development, if permitted. Of course, we all see things differently in different light and perspectives. Yet, despite these differences, I believe that we should be able to accept each other no matter what our differences may be. Also, we should be included and not excluded from everyday activities. We do, however, need to look at the core traits of the high-functioning autism scale, as that is what AS is to some people, to have a better grasp of knowledge and understanding of it. I see today in our society where everything is changing and that, time is usually against us. I feel that time is an enemy of the essence in our lives, to make do what we have to do with the talents that we've got and maybe others can learn from us and vice versa. I believe that, at the moment there have been a lot of times, where in the society we're all trying to make sense to the world, by fitting in or blending in. Sometimes I've noticed that there have been so many labels. Back in the time when I was in school, we need to match fit into the labels with our psyche. I feel today, that we didn't have to fit in or blend in. More of this will be addressed under labels chapter. People on the spectrum may not be aware that what they are saying or doing will lead to some other issues or problems that will look familiar to some obsessive behavior like OCD. Questions have been asked, though based on people with AS, and they are: 1. Do people with AS have difficulties in socializing with others? 2. Does people with AS have difficulties in communicating to others? 3. Does people with AS have difficulties in expressing their body language or read cues from others around them? 4. Does the person with AS have sensory issues? Like sensitive skin, or sensitivity to taste or smell? 5. Does the person with AS tend to zone out, or just stay super focused on just the one task for a long period of time? 6. Does the person with AS develop a character obsession of some kind? 7. If they did show some of this, don't be alarmed because this can be normal when the person with AS is trying to fit in and blend in. Some people with AS may take drama lessons or engage in other activities so that they improve their interaction with others around, as well as the environment that we are in. What I would like to address here to you readers, is that there are a lot of people that are falling through the cracks of being misdiagnosed as young children. I want to conclude this chapter by saying, that this is a neurological challenge for people like me, and that we are different in how we speak, think, and talk. I have noticed that, with some of us that is on the spectrum, many of us will get misunderstood through our social awkwardness. However, I hope to see that in near future there will be proper testing, research, and information out there, with the awareness and understanding that AS isn't a mental disorder, and other forms of labels that tends to get in the way of people's ideas and thoughts about this. Can you see or hear me? Invisible disability. Hello. Excuse me. Are you there? Is anyone out there? Now, I see that I've got you readers' attention to what I am addressing or would like to share right now, on the topic called invisible disability. There are different definitions out there to what this is, yet I will share with you to my understanding of this, including the definitions and more in this chapter. Invisible disability to my understanding is defined as that, which isn't predominant or clearly shown in us, but shows some underlying symptoms before it finally shows up at a given stage of diagnosis. I have been sharing and repeating this so many times before that, there'll be a time where it will show under other diagnosis of any kind given to us. Sometimes, it'll show up in some diagnosis, yet other times it'll show in the wrong one diagnosis. That is how DNA works. However, it will give us a hell of a beating and a ride to how and what it'll do to us in the long run. With invisible disabilities of some kinds, it'll tend to play tricks on us on how the DNA and genetics works. Invisible disabilities are quite common conditions with people that are clinically depressed or with people who have been misdiagnosed before getting the right diagnosis and treatments for themselves. An example that we can look at properly is people that are hearing impaired, who need to rely on hearing aid or a helping dog. Some people may not look disabled to people at first sight, even those ones I've been talking to. But it doesn't mean that they're always deaf or blind, as they can almost do anything like any normal being. Sometimes, people have limited ways of doing their daily activities, but they won't complain as such as. They'll just keep doing what they're doing, and ultimately they're likely to achieve more because they are more dedicated. Sometimes, we need to be aware, but not too cautious as such, to how we may approach others that are different towards us, and how what we say could affect them without us realizing it. Sometimes, this can be to a point in how we'll take it, yet it is again the same for others that doesn't seems want to know or understand that many of us may have boundaries and respect for ourselves to how we see ourselves as people. I am one of them, however, and that many people can laugh and point fingers at me, but that's fine, as it's their loss in the long run, not mine. Or, shall we say that they're the one that has problems, not me, as I know who and what I am. Sometimes, it is all about respecting each other and being able to accept each other's differences, yet based on what I've seen and dealt with in the past and present, not many people will do this. Also, the way things are, as long as they're okay, it doesn't matter what others may think. I feel there are so many selfish, rude, and other labels which I don't wish to address here, yet I hope that you'll understand what I'm trying to say and address to you all as I've written this out. Invisible disabilities, however, can be chronic illnesses like depression, schizophrenia, and more, which sometimes will come to the point where it can impair people with their daily activities, by restricting them to do the activities that they love to do. For example, we're playing outside or even just going to do some tramping, and the ones we're with at this time can't do this. It might get to a point where they may see themselves as a failure or a letdown to others due to their limited abilities to do everyday activities or expresses their innate skills. Some of the hidden disabilities can inhibit or stop us from doing our everyday tasks, yet if we had the right attitude and thinking that it won't do this to us, we can then go further and achieve more. This is, however, based on everyday choices that we make in our lives. I have seen that people have their struggles and battles or whatever it is that they face, that they tend to feel depressed and out, as I'm one of them, as I do have my good days and bad days while facing my demon of depression. For example, some people may just struggle to get out of bed, clean their teeth, and other daily tasks which might seems like a hardcore to them, that could lead to some form of fear, anxiety, or overwhelming feeling in them in form of facing the cycle, or as I call it, the roller coaster of emotions and feelings of the negativities, self-doubt, and many more. How I tackle my day every day now is, I get up in the morning, talk to myself in the mirror, breathe and think of some thoughts that'll get me through, as well as maybe even just finding some quotes that may motivate me, and help me to get through my day. No matter what I go through or face during my day, if something or someone is being negative to me, I do my best to just recycle them into positivity to a point, telling myself, okay, this is how and what they may see in me, yet I see myself differently. I am better than what they're saying about me, I can and will achieve more than them. They're the ones that are having issues in their life that hasn't been sorted out, they're the problem, not me. I am a reflection of me on them. I can't always fix everyone's problems regardless to what is going on. I am who and what I am. I love me, and no matter what. I remember the song of Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, and this plays and rings true to this day. Why I also believe that, if I showed others around me the opposite effect of what they're doing or saying towards me, then maybe they'll give up or even want to know my success story, or secrets of how I go about living my life. It's all about how we accept ourselves as a person at the end of the day. Sometimes, for the everyday tasks that we do take for granted, it can cause an inevitable moment where it'll or may limit us to the point where certain boundaries are needed to be put in place so that no one can be in the way or step into a place they don't belong. Sometimes, there comes a time where I've now learned and realized that, there's bound to the people giving us a hard time, but it's up to us in how we choose to think and react towards and to them. As I mentioned in the chapter based on socializing in general, that I do tire out easily. Yet, I do push myself now than ever before, to socialize in a group, and I'm getting more confident to hang out with people in a group. This is all about me having the right support and encouragement from others that will help me to overcome all my challenges. I would like to address here to you readers that if you see me socializing one-on-one, or in a group, and about to walk away from you, please don't think that I'm being rude or whatever. It's just that, I need to recharge my batteries or my social energy tank up, again. So, I will need time for myself like you would want time out for yourselves. I'm starting to open up more when I do need to go and rejuvenate. I'm blessed to have some people in my circle that are doing their best to fit into what I can do or can't do. For example, if I was dealing with a lot of customers at a customer service desk all at once, and it gets overwhelming for me, I would excuse myself and talk to someone that is on the desk with me at the time. I will as well apologize to the customer that I'm attending to and just address them that I need to be excused for a time. I just sometimes feel that I don't have to keep explaining to myself about my behaviors and attitudes to you time after time like a record, or pushing that replay button or repeat button on the music player to get my message across or should justify my actions to you all. It is about how we live our lives according to ourselves, and that it's all about acceptance. Many people I have spoken to on social media sites or even in person, and me included, receive or hear silly comments from some of you normal, ignorant people out there with their way of thinking as well as the attitudes that they show, or even questioning us like, "You don't even look autistic, you look normal, you act normal, you don't look like you have AS," and many more. I shall share this with you now, that people that have autism or AS are different, just like you are also different. I also get many people around me stating this: "You're too friendly, you're too kind," and more. Yet, I thought pretty much to myself, yes, I am kind, friendly, but I do go through a lot of things on my own. Despite this, everyone's journey in life is different, and that we all have a story and a legacy to share with to others. Many people may think that people who are autistic or suffers from AS do not show any empathy or much empathy, yet, we do show it, and I am one of the many that show empathy, understanding and other emotions despite the label I get and more. Every person with AS and autism is different. I'm the kind of girl, or shall I say a woman, that'll try and put herself out there no matter what. I'm even now making a stand and sharing my story with having AS and my everyday struggles and challenges, that I may face any one of you all. Despite putting myself out there and helping others and putting myself second, sometimes I'm now and again getting slapped on the face now and again from others around me, figuratively speaking here, that do not deserve my attention, advice, or anything like this. If I'm listening to you and I'm being quiet, I do this for a reason, so as to sit down and observe my surroundings as well as the people that I'm socializing with in order to blend. Being undiagnosed with certain conditions can be real fatal, to the point where others may like to know what's really going on with them, and that we need to be, however, be taken seriously when we do have some concerns of whatever. Word of advice here: before you start to think, assume, or judge someone based on what they say, how they look, or what they look like, why don't you get to know that person, as many people tend to walk with people that are different, and that the ones that are different shouldn't be treated differently to others around them. Yes, being different is challenging like anything else in this world today. The society tries to shape us to be who and what we should and could be. I feel we should be able to try and stand out and do something different. I'm now making a stand right on my own for others like me that haven't shared their stories or experiences, as there'll be a time when that change will come, and that there'll be more awareness, understanding, and knowledge based on this and more. I want to make it clear here also that you don't need to have a disability to have an everyday challenge we may face that which could be difficult for us in the process. Yet, others will belittle the ones that are weak and vulnerable. Sometimes, some people will get treated unfairly or unjustly because of who and what they are as people. I feel sometimes, people who suffer from AS and other conditions are not commended enough or recognized enough to do what we do, and that we should be able to be acknowledged and appreciated by others as we would do the same for others around us. We can be the change. We could be the change people could be looking for.